thing you said there even toward the end here was the willpower portion of it, and like how like stuff starts to sound like everything starts to sound like an excuse if it's not, if it really doesn't involve.
I mean, dude, I know this sound, I am aware that this sounds mean or I don't boneheaded or just like unempathetic or whatever, but to me, even like illness kind of sounds like an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like what led to that illness?
Yeah.
You know, even COVID, dude. Like I know that sounds really mean to the people that have died. I know a lot of people hear this and they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're an asshole" or like whatever. But like, what led to you getting COVID?
Mm-hmm.
Let's start being real about all this. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
That's the thing,
even
though.
you got COVID, but if you're being real, like what happened? You were drinking a little bit too much, yeah, you know, and alcohol lowers your immunity, and you beat it because you also consciously, yeah,
I know.
took the supplements and the you approached it in a way where you were able to defeat it without your symptoms being too bad. But if you're also real with yourself, yeah, how did you get it? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure. But that
Being
I
at
like.
the level of health that you're at, you were able to manage it in a way where if you were, 300 pounds, you might have died.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's just facts. But that's also understanding disease, immunology, and I mean, I'm not no freaking doctor, but G, I read a lot about that stuff. That's, it's well, it's not, it's almost a passion of mine, but more so than it being a passion of mine, it's just part of what I feel everyone needs
Well,
to take control of.
people clown on intuition too, and it's like, how you gonna clown on intuition? Your heart beats, doesn't it? Do you have to know how your heart, do you have to teach
Yeah,
your heart how to
exactly.
beat the way it beats? No, there
Exactly.
is a divine intelligence. I mean, you don't have to call it divine, but there is an intelligence beyond human intelligence
Yeah,
symbols. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
And intuition happens to be the word I use for that, but you
I do too.
call it what the
Right.
fuck you want.
Right.
Like, just start being real. Like we know things without having to be able to form words to explain how we know
Exactly.
it.
Or hear it from a guru or
Yeah.
read it. Like I am a firm believer in that because it's just been too what even the worlds that we dive into. I mean, a lot of it comes from that too. And no, but it's interesting because I hear that and I totally agree with you. It's like even with where what started that whole conversation was the question that I was asking you. And basically, even when I ask myself that or I feel that way, I look at what I do. And, I in all in most sense of the words, and to most people, including my dad, you got a great job. You're doing good. You got it, but it's always been a feel for me. Like it's always been a feel for me, and but going back to what you're saying, it's like only you yourself as an individual can change anything
Well, only
that
you
you.
know how your finger feels right now. Only you know how your left pinky toe feels this very moment, you know?
Right,
Only
right,
you know how your right inside eyelash on the upper side feels right now. Like every single cell, that's you. You're the only one that can feel that. I can't feel that, but you
right.
know what you need if you just actually listen to your body. That's what I call intuition. Your body's the language that your body speaks is what I call intuition. And it is beyond any word, including the word intuition, which is nothing more than a symbol that we created and agreed that means something beyond what we really understand. You know what I mean?
Right, right. No, I know. And I think at some point, the individual um, has to make that decision, has to put it on himself, has to go after it, has to has to come up with that plan, has to see it through, has to, like you said, you didn't know where a lot of those things would. You had an idea, you might have had an idea, but you didn't really know where a lot of those things would take you. You know that you wanted to get in the medicinal cannabis lane, and there was an opportunity for you to do that, and you stayed persistent. Um, and like you said, willpowered it through.
Yeah, persistence
And
is another good word though. I was
oh,
pretty
for
fucking
sure.
persistent. I thought the last few times I hit him up, I literally said like, "Hey man, I don't want to be on, I don't want to be getting on your nerves, but this is something that I'm really interested in and passionate about."
Yeah.
But I prefaced it with, "I don't want to be getting on your nerves, like I don't want to be a pest." And then when I saw him at the gun show, I was like, "Yeah, man, I stopped hitting y'all up because I felt like I was getting on y'all's nerves." He was like, "Oh man, you're not getting on our nerves." But at the same time, it was like I kind of had to get on your nerves in order to get
For
it.
you, exactly. Exactly. And for him to remember you
Right.
like that. No, that's an interesting deep dive, interesting story. I think what you might not realize is that even hearing that though is it's with where I'm at in my own head with things. I already know what I need to do and how I need to do it. It's just sometimes when you're unplugged from for a little bit and you're plugged into, back into the corporate talk and back into the, oh yeah, if I keep doing it this way, then I know that this is what's next, and all. You get kind of back into that sway of things, and then you feel away. You have a conversation like this with someone that you know is real and is going to keep it real with you, and you just tell yourself, yeah, actually, I already know that. It's just about what are you going to do about it. And
Yeah, that's
no,
it's
that
funny that you say like I already know because and part of me I get tired of bringing up Don Miguel in every episode, but it hits me in every episode
yeah,
because
yeah,
one of my favorite aspects about, like, he says right from the beginning of the Four Agreements, like, I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know.
I already know. Yeah,
You already know everything I'm about to tell you, but I'm about to word it in a way that's going to make it undeniable. He didn't
right,
brag like that, but pretty much.
right, right. Hey, it's funny that you bring up that book. You know why? Because you remember the four agreements that you gave us for that you gift us, me and our friends, and I had my dad, because my dad's been going through some things he's had, and when he was kind of under the weather and feeling away, one of the most alarming things to me, because I know my dad, was when he stopped reading, and because he always reads. I mean, he reads. That's what he does. But I will also say he reads really just for a long time. He really only read one thing, for many years. Not he used to read a lot of things, and then, I guess life gets to a point for certain people where it's like, you get spiritual, you get religious. Well, I don't want to mix the two. You get religious and you start and you read, you start reading the Bible, and then that's all you read. Well, I wanted to really expand what my dad has been reading when he started feeling better and getting back into reading. And one of the first books he read was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he just finished Rich Dad Poor Dad today, and he said to me today, literally today, he said, this was the first book that I finished reading top to bottom in quite some time. And this is a man who's read the Bible front to back and used to read all kind of different books, right? And I said, Dad, I got a lot of books in there if you want to start another one. And I handed him the Four Agreements. And he looked at the back of it. You know how you can look at the back of a book and it kind of gives you an idea what it's about. He looked at the back of it, and he looked at some of the content. He looked at the content page, and then he just started reading it. I noticed after a couple meetings I was in, it was taking my time up. I looked over at him, and he was sitting there reading. The next thing you know, he's 25 pages in to the Four Agreements, G.
Yeah, it's an easy look. So I was gifted that book. My mom's mom was really sick. Christmas 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been even Christmas 2008. Now that I think about it, I think it might have been Christmas 2008. Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
she was basically on her deathbed, and my friend Aaron Adub,
Yeah.
he had recommended that book to me, and when my aunt asked me, she's like, your grandma's sick. She just basically asked me to do the Christmas shopping for her. And I'm just asking people what they want. And if you don't have anything specific in mind, then I'll just give you some money. And I was like, yeah, give me the Four Agreements. Cause it was like right after he had suggested it.
Yeah.
So I had kind of forgotten about it, honestly, because that was like mid-November or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then on Christmas morning, I opened it up and I was like, oh shit, the Four Agreements. And it's a pretty small book. And so like it was Christmas, so like a lot of family was there and they were all like drinking and talking, and I kind of just unplugged. I felt like I was in my own world, like reading this book while everybody else was just, it was almost like Charlie Brown, like wah, 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 like
Yeah.
everybody's just like chatting. And I was not plugged in at all. Like, I was not focused on anything anybody was saying. And like, because I was reading this book and I kind of in the corner, I guess, or like, I don't know, like nobody even noticed I was there. It was like I was a ghost. And I sat there and read the whole book, dude, like right then.
Oh wow.
Literally,
In one
I
sitting?
in one sitting, dude. I opened it and I read it from front to back that Christmas.
That's nuts. Did not
And
know
I've
that
I've
either.
I've read it a few times since then.
Yeah.
And I've listened to it a few times since then. And then recently, man, like one thing I do love sharing it. Like I can't deny I love like trying to share,
Oh yeah,
try
you gave it to
trying
all of
trying trying to share it though. At the end of the day, like, you can lead someone to knowledge, but you can't make them think.
right.
So it's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't
Water,
make
but
them
you can't
drink.
make it drink. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so like I love trying to share it, but like at the end of the day, if somebody doesn't want to accept it or agree to it, there have been times where I took that personally because it's like in my world, from my point of view, I'm just trying to help you, like
Yeah.
because it helped me so much. But like at the same time, like recently I kind of had a moment with myself where it was like, if it doesn't help, like if it doesn't hit them the way it hit you, like don't take that personally. Like you're literally going against what it's telling. Like maybe it's more the reason it hits you the way it hits you is because you're the one that needs it. They don't need it like you
Yeah.
do. Like
Yeah.
maybe they're actually already doing better than you. Like you don't know. You're making an assumption. So
Yeah.
you really need to be the one following this if it really resonates with you like that. Don't worry about if it resonates with other people or not. So that was like a kind of a just like a real moment with myself that I had to have recently where it was like, dude, it's not if other people do, like you took it and you've loved it, and that's great. That just makes it better. But if somebody doesn't react to it that way, like who gives it? Like it's not that big of a deal. The only reason if this is me talking to myself, it's like if your true intention is to help them, then you're not helping them by taking it personally when they don't feel as enthused about it as you did.
Right. Right.
So that's just something that I've been, on a personal level, it was like, maybe the reason that it resonated with me is because I'm the one that needs it. Maybe I'm the one that, was lower, like,
Yeah. But you know
and
the
and
thing
that's
about
that's
that,
not necessarily to say that I was worse or that I was,
right.
and a worse person or something like that, but it was just something that I needed. I don't know how
Yeah.
else to put it. Really, it's just I needed it, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
why I felt
Absolutely.
that's why I feel the way I feel about it.
The thing about that is, there are books that I have in my collection. I don't have the biggest collection in the world, but I have a nice little collection. And there are books where they've been around for a while, you know, and it's just something, and it's there, but then there's something in life or an experience or something happens that might relate to that, or might make you sit down and pull that out and really get into it. I mean, it was like that with my natural health and nailpathic book. I mean, that's a God sent book for anyone to have. I've had it for a while, never opened it until I came back home, and I'm like, everything that I talk about, research, look for, wonder, ask, think about, yada, 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 as it pertains to health and natural health and natural healing and herbs and just everything. But it's coming from a nailpathic perspective as well. And I've had it forever, but I didn't open it until my father was going through what he was going through, and then you open it. So my point in that is just sometimes there's things in life that you like you say, you can bring somebody to water, you can't make them drink, but you did your part. And sometimes there's something that's going to make that person sit down and open that book up, and then it's going to hit them a certain way because they might be going through something at that point in time where they're not just reading it just to be reading, and now they're reading it and they're getting something from it. It's hitting them different. It's like a song. Like sometimes a song is going to hit you differently depending on where you're at in life and what you're going through or what you have going on. Then
And how many? I'm sorry to cut you off, but how many times have you read it?
Once.
So I don't know, like I don't know how much time it's been since you read it, but like read it again. Like it's a different book, dude. Not like it's almost like a song that you really love. Like every time you hear it, you hear new things. You
hear new things. Yeah.
And
no, that's true.
That's what this book is. It's like every time you read it, it's a different book. You see it because you're a new person based on the first time that you read it, and then you read it, and then you go out in life and you're using it, or not, whatever. But you have that awareness of having read it, and then you go out and you're doing whatever you're doing in life, and then you do, if you're fortunate enough to make the choice to decide to read it again, you read it again and you're like, holy fuck, this is legitimate magic. This is not like some bullshit Disney magic. This is literal magic.
Right.
In word form, encoded.
In word form. That word magic. And I remember when you first told me about word magic, and I just now I know there's a book on it. I still need to get to that 2G.
But what's crazy, dude, is I've lost count on how many times I've read it, but I guarantee you and my own self, if I was to pick it up and read it right now, that shit would be I would have never read that book. I have never read the book the way that I would read it the next time I read it.
The next time you read it, yeah.
You can never, unless you literally read it twice in a row. Like you read it and you get to the end and then you start at the beginning and you hit it and you listen to it on repeat, basically. Like that's the only way that you're reading the same book twice in a row. If you have one day in between,
yeah,
and then you go back and read it, it's a totally different book. I know it sounds like I'm fucking embellishing or exaggerating, but just try it. Just try it.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
No. But I'll tell you one thing, if my dad's gonna keep reading it, I'm gonna let him flow with it because it excites the hell out of me to, first of all, see him reading new and different things, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and now now he seems to have started the 4 Agreements, and he's got these fasting books he's reading, and it's just it excites me. But
no, that's anyway, beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is, and it definitely is. And I'm not saying that the Bible, I mean, it's that's great, but
the Bible is too confusing, man. Like it's been interpreted too many different ways, and people have too many like the feelings are so strong about it, and it wasn't even written in the language that you're reading it in either.
Exactly, that thing has been stepped on, and in the drug world they call it stepped on. That stuff been stepped on a lot, and
exactly.
We all got our own feelings about that. But all I know is I'm happy to see him branch out and read some other things, and I just thought it was so funny that you brought up Don Miguel again, because literally he finished Rich Dad Poor Dad today and have already started 25 pages of 4 agreements, and I just think that in itself is just kind of crazy. But anyway, no, just another well needed dialogue and convo. I mean, the point in me even bringing this topic up and harping on this, because we were supposed to be talking about something completely different, but sometimes, like anything that is artful or creative, you're motivated based off of what's inspiring you at that time. You know, I always go back to that one conversation which started this whole podcast, which I was still living in Arlington at the time, and we were just letting it flow. It was like a 2 or 3 hour
I was gonna
conversation.
say,
Do
I
you
was like,
remember?
I remember it was two. I'm actually, it's crazy. I remember it to the minute. It was 2 hours and 24 minutes, bro. We talked
Yes.
for 2 hours and 24 minutes.
Yes. And I remembered at the end, I was like, yo, this was like a episode. This was like a pod, or this was an
Yeah.
episode, or I wish we had recorded this, or because there's no way that people are feeling this way. And I feel that these things, and social media shows me a little bit of that, but these things that we talk about and that we're feeling and that we're that might be in our mind, or that's really what brings me joy within doing this sort of short form, long form, mid form podcast, is because like with anything, what resonates with me is what touches me, like, oh, yo, this person is going into something that's resonating with me. And I know for a fact that I am not the only one right now that has a quote unquote, pretty decent gig, making pretty good money, and has a pretty good title and all of these things, but still feel low key unfulfilled. And then you turn around and you look at the things that does bring joy and happiness and fulfillment, like this pod, like music, like sports, but not even just sports just to watch it, but more so in a studying the game way, in a studying competition way, and competitors, and where they go and how they can literally shift competition from the sport to life and their passion, and win the same way. And they might not have even thought, before retirement or whatever the case was, that they would be able to do that. But my point is that I love being able to talk about things that I just know from, like you said, intuition, and from other forms, obviously social media and some other things, where people are feeling a way about things and thinking these things, and are trying to figure out, how can I not feel this way and actually turn what does drive me and motivate me into something I can do for the rest of my life, and also reap the rewards from doing something that you're so passionate about. So I'm definitely not going to go into, maybe we'll save that for a part 2, for my whole long story and what even got me to the point of where I'm at and feeling the way that I feel about I guess that side of the working world. But it was on my mind today, so I appreciate you for kind of taking that reign on that and kind of running with it. And I'm sure a lot of people would be able to get something from that. And also, it's more, and I know, G, anytime you get an opportunity to plug Don Miguel in the 4 agreements, you should be an affiliate marketer for that dude, man. But I know it's all in good faith. It has nothing to do with that. You love his work. It's resonated with you, and I think it will resonate with a lot of people as well. I'll tell you one thing, me reading it the one time that I read it, not only did it resonate with me as well, though, it allows you to just get a different understanding of it. Allows you to get feel a different understanding and look at a different way of what this all is, and what's going on in your head, and how to decipher it, and it just gives you another avenue to look at it from. And sometimes another avenue of looking at that or feeling that is just as important of actually having the answer, because it allows you to study it. It allows you to to dig deeper from that perspective. It gives you more than one track to understand it by or look at it from.
Did
And that's some
did you watch the video I sent about Tom Brady and the Four Agreements?
I it did Tom Brady in the Four Agreements. So was a video with that? I might need to go do that after we finish up here tonight. I don't recall looking at that.
Well, I sent it. I might have sent it just to LT and Kenny. Now that I think about it, I know I sent it to Kenny, because he's a Tom Brady fan.
He's a Tom Brady guy. Yeah. No, I don't recall that. But what Tom Brady did something on?
Oh, that it's his book, dude. He lives by the Four Agreements too. He read it. He read it right around after the whole Deflategate thing.
Uh-huh.
And don't take anything personally, especially resonated with him. And yeah, he's it's funny you're not on Instagram either, but and I was off of it for a while. I finally got back on just for the pod's sake, but there was a time last year, man, where I reached out to Tom. I said, hey man, I think the world needs somebody like you, an influencer like you, to share the Four Agreements, with me knowing that how important they are to you. I think it would be nice for you to say something, in solidarity with the Four Agreements, or basically promoting the Four Agreements. And the next day I get on, and fucking his Instagram story is a picture of the inside flap of the book, the summary of the Four Agreements.
Really?
And I was like, I can't say for sure that he saw.
Yeah, I know, but that's very coincidental. That's very coincidental.
Right.
And I don't really do the coincidental thing, so it's funny that I'm even saying. So there had to be something there, though, man.
Right. Yep.
I was just about to ask you that. I was like, do you think that same thing would have happened the next day if you didn't reach out?
I don't know. I mean, I can't say he didn't respond to me directly like, yeah, I'll do that. You know what I mean? But the very next day, that picture was on his story.
I don't know, G. That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
I did not know that either. I've not heard that story either. That's pretty dope. I'm shocked.
Yeah, they did it. They did a whole ESPN story on it, and they interviewed Don Miguel. Yeah, I'll send it to you. It's only like a 4-minute. It's like a 4-minute clip from ESPN. Yeah, back in 2009. Yep, right around the same time when I first read it.
Wow, interesting. No, I did not know or realize that at all. Actually, I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit later on. No, that's awesome. That's really all I got today, though, G. I mean, I know we were supposed to talk about a few other things. I've got